Morning, everyone. It's Audrey, Stitchy Witch 42. Happy Halloween! It is October 12th. My favorite month, my favorite season. This is going to be a longer video than I usually do because I want to do a parade of previous Halloween finishes. And then I want to show you a couple of new finishes, another FFO, who am I, and a regular update. So if you're interested in watching this video, pause me right now, go get your favorite drink, grab your stitching, sit down. It's going to be a long one. Hold on. So welcome to my kitchen. This is my dining table, which is very rarely ever used as a dining table, but it's set up with my cauldron full of smalls because every good witch has a cauldron, right? So my plan on this video is I'm going to show you a bunch of previous finishes where I can remember what the pattern is or what it was stitched on or the designer. I will tell you. The rest of the time, you have to give this witch a break because I may not remember. So I'm going to start out with my Cauldron of Smalls here. Some of these were made by me. Some of them were made by other people. This first one here, I know that the pattern is called Quaker Pumpkin. The pattern and the red silk floss was sent to me from Marie in Tasmania. This was part of a box set, a subscription set a few years ago, and I absolutely fell in love with it, watched many people stitch it. She was nice enough to send it to me, and I stitched that on this fantastic blue linen. I had bought this piece of linen with the idea of making some smalls, and I ended up making 4 in total using this blue linen fabric. What it is, I have no idea. This is Quaker Pumpkin. The second design here, again, I do not know what the name of the pattern is. It was also sent to me by someone who watches my videos. I absolutely loved it. I thought it looked fantastic on this blue fabric, and it was just another simple small that I made. The third of the blue pieces. This pattern is by Amy Brueken. It's called Eek. The pattern was given to me by my sister Patty, and I'll be showing a lot of things that she has given me over the years. But I loved the way this one turned out. I know I changed the colors somewhat on it, but I think it's an absolutely adorable little small pillow. Another pattern that was sent to me by someone who watches my videos. This one is Stone Street Stitchworks, and I think maybe it's called Bat Moon. I'm not sure. I know on the pattern, the moon itself is supposed to have more of a plaid effect with the colors, which I really didn't like. So I went down and I picked up 2 shades of yellow. And I don't know if you can, yeah, you can slightly see the coloration difference in the 2 shades of yellow there. And I love the way it turned out. It made it much more subtle. Again, to me, a fantastic little finish. This pattern, I know, came out of a Just Cross Stitch Halloween special. I don't remember what year it was, but I've only been collecting them since 2012, so sometime between 2012 and now. This pattern was in there. It was stitched on one of the pieces of fabric that we dyed at the weekend at Lisa's house in 2018. I used the same on the back and just fringed the edges of this pillow. This one you've just recently seen. It's one of my wildfire stitches, October 31st, from this year's Just Cross Stitch Halloween special. This is the second of my wildfire stitches from, again, 2020 Halloween special. Halloween Witching? I can't remember the name. This one was not stitched by me. This one was stitched by Helen D on YouTube or East Coast Crafter on Instagram. She and I decided to do our own exchange, and she stitched this one. This is Smell My Feet by Lottie Da. And this one here, this was stitched by my sister Patty. This is needlepoint, not cross stitch, and it's not a pillow, it's a little hanger. But I thought it was perfect to have here because this word wicked shows up in my house a lot. Hold on a moment. So back behind the cauldron, I have one of several plaques that say Wicked on it, and I have two of metallic pumpkins. So if you'll hold on a moment, I'm going to head over to where the next finished piece is. This piece is by Waxing Moon Designs. It's Witch on Duty. The way the piece was designed is between the cat and the hat and the broom, there are supposed to be two more lines of stitching that say casting spells and taking names. I obviously did not stitch those. Stitch the witch on duty, the cat, the hat, and just move the broom up underneath it. On this piece, this was one of the first times I played with variegated floss to get it to work the way I wanted it to. I didn't want my cat to be stripy. I wanted my cat to have patches of color. So when I stitched it, I moved all around on the cat's body to create that effect. And then using the same floss over on the hat, where I did want the striped effect, I have the stripes on the brim of the hat going diagonally and on the cone of the hat horizontally. Waxing Moon Designs, Witch on Duty. Okay, this piece sitting on my couch is La-Di-Da, by the pricking of my thumbs, something wicked this way comes. And I finished this into a pillow, and when I finished it, I put it on my couch, and it's never not been on my couch since, except for occasionally when Mark throws it on the floor. I need to smack him when he does that. Hold on, let's move on to the next one. This piece, which is currently hanging in front of Mark's bookcase, is Couer E Baticouer Halloween in Quilt. When I got this pattern, I took it with me up to Acorns and Threads. I asked the ladies there to set me up with the fabric. They didn't have what was called for, and instead Janine gave me 30 count Havana, which started my love for that fabric. I think it's a fantastic color. I've used it many times. I absolutely love the way this looks on here. So when it was done, I took it back up to Acorns and Threads and I gave it to JoLyn, who is the finisher up there. And I said, would you make a wall hanging for me? And she returned me this absolutely gorgeous piece. I am so excited about it. I love this piece so much. This next piece here is a Hinzeit pattern. It is Wicked Witch. It is the very first piece that I ever stitched on linen. Again, I went up to Acorns and Threads and I said, I've not stitched on linen before. Can someone help me pick out fabric for this and show me how to do it? And I don't remember which one of the lovely ladies there did, but they picked out the linen for me. They took me over, sat me down at the table, and showed me with needle and floss how to stitch on linen. And I've been doing that ever since, because it's really simple, Becca. All you have to do is count over 2 spaces instead of 1. Or just count over 1 space if you're really crazy. I'll get to that project. This piece that I have hanging above the television is Bats in the Belfry by the Drawn Thread. I stitched it earlier this year. This was one of those pieces that when I saw another floss tuber stitching on it, I had to pause the video, go to 1-2-3 Stitch, find the pattern, purchase it, and get started on it as soon as possible. I think that it is just a gorgeous, simple little stitched piece. The piece that you now see on the screen is not cross stitch. It is actually needlepoint. This was a hand-painted canvas that my sister Patty purchased for me. She purchased the beads as well, and then she told me what stitches to use on this piece. I then took this one up to the needlepoint shop in Portland called In Stitches, had them finish it. It's on a dowel and is supposed to sit in a thread spool. I didn't have one, so I asked my husband Mark to make one, and he took a piece of fancy wood and made a spool for me. And this is my Halloween tree. This next piece is Primitive Hare Boo Tree. This pattern was sent to me from Jay, who was Mortuary Stitches on YouTube and is Mortuary Stitches on Instagram. I stitched it, and when I was finished with this one, I sent the pattern on to Donna Ray, Flannel Jammy Farms. This one I finished as a flat fold, but it's currently just sitting against the wall on my display over here. This next piece is also by the Primitive Hare. It is not the complete pattern. I think it's called the Town of Halloween or Halloween Town. I received the pattern from Michelle Bendy Stitchy and stitched it. This one is also a flat mount finish with more of those glow-in-the-dark skulls. So, Town of Halloween, the Primitive Hare. This one, I do not remember what the name of it is called. I stitched this as part of a stitch along that McKenna did, I think in 2018, Salem Remembered. It was a free pattern, and this was the first time that after I finished stitching it, I tea stained it. And I love the way that it turned out. The frame, I found at Goodwill. Perfect size for it. Love how this one turned out. This piece here is also another Primitive Hare piece. This is Spell Store. I stitched this one out of a Just Cross Stitch Halloween special. I know you can now buy this pattern at the at shops, but this one was stitched from the pattern in one of the Just Cross Stitch Halloween specials. Alrighty, this one is Ana All Hallows Eve. This one was stitched on Murky. It is a flat mount attached to a painter's canvas, and what I did on the painter's canvas is I just kind of replicated some of the border just to embellish it a little bit more. Ana All Hallows Eve. Okay, you can all scream at me now because I don't remember who the designer of this is, and I know I should. This was a stitch along I did with Vicky, Stitchin' Buttons. Is it Plum Street? I don't remember. I finished this one as a pillow. Did some bead trim around it. You've seen me do that before. Don't yell at me for not knowing who this is. I told you this was going to happen. This one. This one is one of my favorite pieces because of how it was finished. This is Plum Street Samplers Ghoul. I did not stitch the complete design. When I finished with what I wanted on it, I took it up to JoLyn at Acorns and Threads, and I said, would you make me a tombstone? She did this absolutely fantastic finish. Everything is stitched by hand, and I love this piece so much. All right, this next one is one of my finishes. This is Wicked Witch by Lottie Da. I had seen this finish on Kathy Haberman's video. She said that she had it finished for her by Snowberry Needle Arts, and I contacted Snowberry Needle Arts and I said, could you possibly finish my Wicked Witch the same way that you finished Kathy's? And she was very polite and said no. So then I asked, would it be okay with you if I copied your finish? And she said, by all means, please do so. So then I had to figure it out. What I did with this piece is I took foam core and I mounted this on the foam core. I also put a piece of mat board behind it. So when I went to stitch it together, this seam up the back here, I was stitching against a hard background and it was difficult, to say the least. Then I had to try to figure out how to add the boot. And my son actually helped me with that. Since I had a photocopy of Kathy's finished piece, he said, blow it up until the top of the boot fits the leg. So I did. And then I took 2 pieces of felt. I did a blanket stitch around them, filled them half full with fiber fill, stuffed the leg down in there, and then stitched it all the way together around the top. For the laces on the boot, I took 2 different ribbons and I took beads for the buttons and just played with it until I got something that I liked. This piece here is called Witch's Night Out. I do not remember the designer. This pattern, the fabric, and the hanger for the bell pull were all given to me by my sister Patty. I know that the fabric on this is 28 count crystal kermit, and when she sent it to me, I immediately sat down and started stitching as I usually do, 2 over 2. And the design didn't fit. So I pulled it all out. I tried it again because I thought I must be counting wrong. And it didn't fit the second time either. So I contacted my sister and I said, I don't think you got the right size fabric for this piece. And she goes, did you read the instructions? No. This is stitched 1 over 1 on 28 count crystal kermit. I can't even tell you how many personalizations there are in this piece. It took me 2 years to stitch. I think it is absolutely gorgeous. I don't know that I can get a closer view of it for you. I'm trying to hold the camera steady. I love this piece. When it was done, I contacted a friend of mine in Salem who is a seamstress. She does model stitching for clothing patterns. She does quilting. I have watched her design slip covers for furniture in her house and just make them up. She is truly a seamstress, and she finished this for me. I supplied her all the fabric she needed for the back of it, the interfacing, and she turned this into a lovely, lovely finish. Again, it's Witch's Night Out, but I do not know the name of the designer. So having shown you all the pieces I have here on my sideboard, this is how it's all set up. My daughter was very kind and came over and decorated for me this year. So how this is set up is all her. There's another wicked. In fact, there's two wickeds. There's one on the mantle sideboard itself and one on the bottom shelf. The boxes in the corner were the ones that were sent to me by Sherry. I absolutely love them. My husband loves them and told me that I can't move them from there, so they're out year-round. Hold on, we're going to go over to the mantle where there's more. We're going to start with a small piece. This was stitched from a pattern in a just cross stitch Halloween special when I was up at Lisa's house the weekend that we were dyeing fabrics. That weekend at her house was Lisa Smith, Kindred Stitcher, her sister Carrie, Lori McCleary, textilist, Michelle Rudy, farm girl, and myself. Had a fantastic, fun-filled weekend with those ladies, and this was one of the pieces that I started and finished there. This piece was a pattern in another just cross-stitch Halloween special. There was in the original pattern a border of half moons, quarter moons, and there was one of those creepy things hanging from the top of the hat. Obviously, I left them off. When I took the pattern up to Acorns with me, asking for some help picking out some fabric, Janine told me, stitch it on purple. So I did, because when Janine says, use this fabric, you listen to her. Remember when I said I love cauldrons? I do. I've stitched a couple of different ones, and I think that they're all absolutely adorable. I do not remember the designer of this one. I know I've mentioned it in a previous video, and if you really need to know, tell me, and I will look up that information for you. But this was, again, one of the first ones that I stitched on linen, and I framed this one myself. It could be a little bit straighter. It's good enough for me. This piece is also needlepoint. This is another one of the painted canvases that my sister, Patty, purchased for me. And again, she told me what stitches to use because I had no idea how to stitch the background or to do any of this. Without her help, I would have been lost. This is Witchy Woman Apothecary. I know that I have a whole video on how I finished this one. It is a flat mount on painter's canvas with some fabric on top of the canvas, and the webbed effect is just from a spray can. So this is Witchy Woman Apothecary. I have 3 smalls here to show you. This is a little muffin tin. It was a kit that I purchased at Acorns and Threads. First time that I ever tried doing a finish like this. Could use some improvement, but I'm getting there. The next one I finished earlier this year is a Mill Hill kit. This is Painted Pumpkins. Love how it sparkles with all of those beads in there. And the last one was the very first ornament that I ever finished myself. This is Wicked. This was a free pattern. I do not know the designer. This was the first time I tried to make an ornament by myself, and using Vanna's technique, I came up with this idea. I also used a floss bracelet kit to braid the floss to use as my trim, using the colors that I used to stitch. Okay, what you see in front of you right now is my Halloween mantle scarf. This is what I stitched when I saw a picture of a mantle scarf that I wanted in a magazine that had a price of $56. And at that point in time, I didn't have $56 that I could spend on a mantle scarf. So I thought, I'll make one myself. Again, my sister Patty had gifted me 2 Cricket Collections pamphlets, and both of those pamphlets had 4 designs in each of them. 4 designs, doubled. I have 8 stitched pieces on this mantle scarf. When I finished stitching those, I then went to Joann's and I bought fabric for this mantle scarf. And then with my son's help, we did the math to figure out how long to make the pendants. My sister Patty also gifted me with all the beads that are on the bottom of each one of the pendants. So I have 8 pendants with stitched pieces on it and 7 that don't. There are 15 pendants on this mantle scarf. When all was said and done, and I put it together, and I added up the 3 pieces of linen that I stitched the 8 designs on, the fabric for the mantle scarf itself, have no idea what the beads cost, I ended up spending over $250 for a mantle scarf when I told myself I couldn't afford one that cost $56 out of a magazine. When there's a will, there's a way. We can do stuff. We can make it into whatever we want. And I absolutely love this piece. So here is what my mantle looks like with all my cross-stitch pieces. Again, my daughter Erin came over this year and she put this all together for me. I absolutely love the way all my stitches look. So those are all my previous finishes. Oh wait, there's one more. Hold on. How could I forget my ladies? I love these witches. I think they are the most fantastic witches I have ever seen on a cross-stitch pattern. This is Trio. I got this pattern from Mystic Stitch. It is full coverage. It is 17.5 inches by 17.5 inches. There are more mistakes in this piece than I care to acknowledge, but I love this piece so much. And again, look at those faces. So now that I'm done with showing you all of my previous Halloween finishes, I'm going to get myself together and show you some new finishes. Hold on. I'm surprised it didn't take as long as I thought it would. There's a lot of stuff there, and I love every single piece that I've stitched. I've enjoyed it so much. I love the fact that some of them were gifts from other people. A lot of them were gifted to me by my sister Patty, either a finished piece or the pattern. In the case with this one here, everything to complete Witch's Night Out. I absolutely love it. So I have finished 2 more pieces. Well, I finished 3 actually. One of them is an FFO. So let's start with the finished pieces. And then when I'm done with that, I want to talk about a visit to Acorns and Threads and a bag full of purchases. So Keslin's Wicked Web is finally finished. It's hanging on the hanger here because I know that I want to frame this piece. I just haven't figured out what size frame I'm going to need yet. I know that there are a lot of people who have used some online business for buying, what's the word I'm looking for? Custom-sized frames. If anybody knows the name of that company, please let me know, because I would like to get a custom-sized frame for this piece and the one behind it. This is Keslin's Wicked Web. The white webbing is all stitched with glow in the dark, and I will post a picture of it later on today on Instagram so you can see what that looks like. The second piece behind it is Blackwater Blooms by Needle Made Designs. This is on 32 count Tuscan Rose, and this is a long narrow piece, so I'd like to get a long narrow frame it up close to the finished piece. So until I can get those frames, both of these pieces are just on a hanger waiting to be finished. Tripods make an excellent place to hang your finishes if you don't knock things over. All right, my third finish and my only FFO this week is a tiny little piece. This was a freebie pattern that Deanna of Darling and Whimsy Designs sent to me and the other two ladies who are part of Team 9 on Melanie Watkins' What Whip group. And I'm sure this pattern is free to anybody else who contacts her. But this is Here Lies My Remains. So yesterday when I was finishing this piece, I took step-by-step photos of what I did. They are posted on my Instagram, StitchyWitch42. But I want to show this to you up close and personal. This is just a tiny little piece. I lined the back of it with the glow-in-the-dark skulls. I used some Lady Dot trim because I wanted it to look like there was some mold around the tombstone. And this is just a curtain hook that you can purchase from Amazon. I got a package of 100 of them for a relatively cheap little amount of money. And what I did when I finished it is it's just attached to the backing piece here. It just clips on and off. So this is Here Lies My Remains by Darling and Whimsy Designs. It's been a lot, hasn't it? It's really been a lot. Anyway, so now I would like to tell you a little bit about a trip up to Acorns and Threads last Thursday. I had the great opportunity to go up and meet with Becca Sambry Stitches and with Anna, who is Stitch Roadies. To my knowledge, it was just going to be the three of us. We were meeting because the day before was Anna's birthday, and she celebrates the entire month of October as her birthday. But then Becca informed us that there would be two other ladies joining our group, both of them coming down from Washington. The first one was Robin, who is on YouTube as Lady Robbins. And the other one is Fiona, who is also on YouTube and Instagram as Fiona's Craft Cottage. I know she does some hand-dyed fabrics also, because when we met up at the store, her fingers were covered with stain. It happens, people. It happens. It was a fantastic day. We got up there right before Acorns opened. Fiona took a picture of us and posted it on Instagram of Anna, Becca, and I all going open, open, open on the windows. And even though it wasn't quite 10 o'clock, Janine still came over. And you know what? When she opened the door, she gave us tricks or treats. We got M&Ms. Gotta love it when you go shopping and you get tricks or treats. Anyway, my Acorns bag is full of stuff. Want to see what's in it? All right. So I was talking about finishing my little piece here. I needed some Lady Dots chenille. And since I didn't have it with me, I didn't know what color to get. So I grabbed 3 different trims. Ogden Grass, Algae, and Rainy. And when it came down to it and I was trying them out, Rainy was the one that I used because I thought it went the best with the colors on this little finished piece here. This is not a purchase. This is Happy Mail. But I picked it up at Acorns and Threads. This has happened a couple of times now where people who have contacted me and asked for my address have lost it or misplaced it or whatever. So they send something to me, care of Acorns and Threads. And I love the fact that when this arrived, the ladies just stuck it in my bag there. I'm not telling people to do that. I'm just saying it has happened in the past, and it makes me smile when it does. If anybody is interested in my address, all you have to do is contact me. I will give it to you. Unless you're weird or creepy, and, then I won't. But this is a gorgeous handmade card. And it has a recipe on it for zombie repellent spritz. 2 tablespoons of wormwood, 1 teaspoon ground hydra scales, grated lemon rind, dusting of gargoyle powder, 1/2 inch of cinnamon stick, 1 bunch sweet herbs, 1/4 cup powdered root of asphodel, 12 chestnuts. Mix all ingredients over medium heat and boil for 10 minutes. Strain with tacky red satin stripped from the inner lining of a vampire's cape. Let mix cool let liquid cool under light of a full moon or inside a haunted pie cabinet. Pour boiled mixture into a vintage perfume spritzer. I don't have any gargoyle powder. I might have to look for that. I may not have some of the other things either. The vampire cape, though. Alrighty then. M&Ms. They'll be my treat later on today. I have seen a lot of people stitching this, and so I took my pattern up with me. This is Autumn Alphabet by Willow Hill Samplings. And I picked up some flosses to use. I haven't figured out which fabric I'm going to use yet, but I have some, and maybe I'll figure it out from what I show you. The next pattern that I had ordered from Acorns and Threads. This is by the Drawn Thread. This is Little Bits of Halloween. And the thing that I like about this pattern is you have choices. You can either stitch it in the square, you can stitch it horizontally, or you can stitch it vertically. And it also shows how to make a small from part of the pattern. I'm doing the square, and they ordered the fabric for me. It is a Belfast linen. It is a 13 by 18 piece of dirty. Dirty, dirty, dirty. Sorry, sometimes I amuse myself. All right. This is a piece of linen that I picked up there. This is linen by Stephanie. It is 32 count Rihanna. Purples and grays and just a lovely piece of fabric. I got a Seresham linen, Tobias. This is an 18 by 27 piece, 32 count. Nice neutrals. This might be one of the pieces that I choose for the autumn alphabet. That's what I was thinking when I bought it. I got the current edition of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher. And there is a piece in here that I am really thinking that I want to do. It's the Cauldron Thread Organizer Pillow by Ryan Mack of Wild Violet Cross Stitch. It's a cauldron, people. You know I like my cauldrons. Okay, I think that's my purchases from Acorns. The other thing that I picked up at Acorns, and I'm showing it, it's closed, people. It hasn't been opened yet. This past month, September, was supposed to be the first annual Pacific Northwest Stitcher Summit Retreat held by Acorns and Threads at a hotel up in Lake Oswego, Oregon. And because of the Rona, it was canceled. So we were given the choice of either picking up our packages or having them mailed to us. They have postponed the virtual retreat until October 24th. And those of us who were up there Thursday and picked up our packages, they asked us to please keep them sealed. Mine is. Or if we opened them up ahead of time, to not show anything from the inside of it on any form of social media. No spoilers for anybody. So, I'm being good. Janine, I'm being good. It's closed. Okay, remember when I said I didn't need any more project bags? That I really didn't need any more project bags? Well, Vicky, Stitching Buttons, she knows how to sew, and she makes bags that I love, and I have 7 or 8 or more of her bags already. I watched her video. She showed a bag. This is the inside of it. But when she showed the back of it, I sent her a message and I said, just send it to me. She told me I was bossy. I love this so much. So much. Along with it, she sent a needle minder of a raven. Because I have plenty of those too, and I really don't need more, but it's Vicky. It's Vicky. Okay, one of the ladies that I work with, she has one of those machines, a Cricut, I think it is. I don't know. I haven't gotten that far into my journaling that I know these things. But she brought me this bag full of stuff, and she sent me these gave me these paper webs, and they're sparkly and they're pretty, and there are several of those. There's also a raven, and inside there are some bats. You know I will be using those in my journals. I haven't been doing any journaling for a little bit. Apparently, I've been busy finishing pieces. Okay. So after listening to Becca Sambry Stitches so many times, telling me about the fabric that she's been getting from Bestitch Me, I ordered some. Why I didn't order sooner, I have no idea. I ordered 5 pieces of fabric from her. 3 of them are 16 count Aida. 2 of them are 32 count linens. The first one is Tree Hugger. It's greens, just gorgeous. And then Stonehenge. Stonehenge has got this wonderful mottled coloring. Fantastic. This one, oh my God, this one is so gorgeous. This is Cosmos. Black with blues in it. I have no idea what I'm going to put on this one, but oh, it will be spectacular. The 2 pieces of linen I got, I've been hearing everybody talk about toast, so I had to have some. Look at that. It is just gorgeous. And then, this is Halloween. Oh my God. This is Halloween. Yeah. Watching floss tubers, it's an addicting thing because you're all enablers, because my next purchase was because of another floss tuber. So, Lisa Smith, Kindred Stitcher. She has finished so many things that I just absolutely love. And she showed this one by Delaney Woods called All Hallows Eve. And I sent her a message right away and I said, where do I find this? And she goes, look at the link on the video, Audrey. Whatever. So I purchased this one. And while I was there looking, I found this one, Bewitching. Had to have both of them. I have 2 more pieces of mail that I got. This one was a lovely card sent to me by Donna, who is one of my regular viewers. And I thought it was so sweet of her to send this lovely little card. She sent this right after the video about the wildfires. And in it, she said, thinking of you and glad everyone is okay in your area. And then condolences for the Freds. I love that. Condolences for the Freds. The raccoons were on the roof the other night. I won't tell you what I call them. And then one of the other ladies who is in my What Whip group, Team 9, sent another beautiful handmade card. And this is just stunning. So, great happy mail, whether it arrived at my house or at Acorns. Lots of haul, lots of things. I'm sure this is a pretty long video. I wanted to go back to last Thursday at Acorns and the meetup, the luncheon date with Anna, Becca, Fiona, and Robin. It was not planned. Even though it happened on the first Thursday of the month, it was not a first Thursday meetup. To my knowledge, those are now a thing of the past. But that is entirely up to Janine. It's her shop. With the coronavirus being what it is right now, groups can't meet up there. With the way she has the store configured, there's no place for a table to be set up for meetups. But again, that is entirely up to her as to what will happen in the future. The 5 of us met to have lunch together, and we did some shopping together. And then we went over and we sat at McMenamin's and had a fantastic lunch, got to meet Robin's husband, and her wedding anniversary is April 5th of 97. Just putting that out there because she seems to not remember when she got married. Was I supposed to say that, Robin? Sorry. April 5th. Anyway, it was a fantastic day. I thoroughly enjoyed myself with those ladies. I hope that you have enjoyed all the pieces that I've shown you today, all the finishes that I've shown. If you have questions about any of them, please ask them down in the comment box below. I will try to list as much information on my finished pieces as I can, but what I don't remember, I'm not going to research unless you specifically ask for it. I will list the YouTube links for both Robin, who is Lady Robbins on YouTube, and for Fiona, who is Fiona's Craft Cottage. I don't know why I have problems with that, but I do. I will list them both below. And I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Until then, live long and stitch on. Happy Halloween, everyone! Oh, wait, there's more. Social distancing, trick-or-treating. I love Halloween. You all know I love Halloween. I'm trying to figure out a way that we can do social distancing, trick-or-treating, and I came up with an idea. And my son Philip came down, not yesterday, but last Sunday, and he and Mark and I went shopping at the local hardware store, and we got some stuff to put together what I hope will work for social distancing trick-or-treating on Halloween night. We bought some parachute cord, paracord. We bought a small pulley. I bought a plastic pumpkin bucket, and I bought a remote doorbell. So Mark and Philip hooked up the pulley to go from my front porch out to the front fence. Put the pumpkin bucket on the pulley, put a little weight in it, and it slides down the paracord and hits a post at the fence so that the trick-or-treaters can stand there and get their candy. The remote doorbell will be put out there on Halloween night. And there will be a sign for the kids to line up where Philip and I have decorated the front fence, push the doorbell so that we can come out, put their prepackaged goodies in the pumpkin bucket, send it down to them on the paracord, and then to get it back. I think this is the part I love the most. Mark brought out a fishing reel, and he attached the fishing line to the pumpkin bucket. And when it hits the fence, he can then reel it back up with the fishing pole. And we're ready for the next group of trick-or-treaters. My plan is that the week before Halloween, I'm going to have a sign out on the front porch that we will be doing social distancing trick-or-treating. I am going to post it in the local Facebook group that we will be doing social distancing trick-or-treating. On Halloween, the sign's going to change and give all the ghosties and ghoulies the instructions on how to get their tricks and treats. And there will be a big umbrella over it so that in case it rains, because it is Oregon and it's been raining all week, that they'll have a little protection there while they're getting their tricks and treats. So I'm going to include a little 1-minute video at the end of all of this so you can see what we did last Sunday. So this time, that's really it. Happy Halloween, everyone!